Warranty Wire.
Customer trust.
AI.
Every day in the warranty world.
Welcome back, guys. We're back as a trio.
We're back. Yay.
Finally. How you doing, Becca?
Better now that there's no puke in my house.
Good to hear.
And I love flu season.
Yeah, 'tis the season.
Yeah.
Yep, we're no longer the dynamic duo now, Mark. We're back as was it 3 Musketeers or 4 Musketeers? I can never remember.
3.
3. Let's go.
Or 3 Stooges.
Well, it's good to be back
It is.
for season 2, as we've already mentioned. So, what have we got in store for this week then, Becca?
So this week we're carrying on the tradition from season 1 of our very popular Mythbusters session. So we're going to explore a big Mythbuster in the warranty space. But before we get there, I also want to talk about our favorite Mythbusters just in the general world. So everybody, welcome back to the Warranty Wire, the place for real talk about warranty in the age of automation, AI, and elevated expectations. So your favorite Mythbuster. Here's mine. Are the bulls, okay, you know in the rodeo, whenever they're waving the red flag, you get the bulls. Is that a rodeo?
No.
What would you call that?
Bullfighting? I don't know.
Bullfighting.
Matadors?
Yes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Conquistador. Is that one? I don't know. So when they are fighting the bulls, aggravating them with the red, why do they use red? What do you think? Why do they have a red flag that is waving for the bull?
They get angry.
So the myth here is that bulls are colorblind. Bulls can't even see the color red. So it's just the movement of the flag that they're waving that aggravates the bull and gets them angry. But the color red is really just for show for the audience members.
So it stands out for them.
Mm-hmm. Did you know that one?
I did.
I did not.
I didn't know that one either. So there is actual Mythbusters episode about it. Everyone needs to go watch.
Okay.
They prove it wrong.
Okay.
So let's talk about the warranty world. Our favorite Mythbuster in warranty, what we're living and breathing every day. Today's Mythbuster is that warranty providers are all the same, right? Mark, have you?
I love that one. I love this one. Yeah, here. So let me preface this like early in my career. Now, obviously, my career is a little bit longer than the two of you thus far.
100 years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. So yeah, I had the opportunity to stand up in front of about 200 retail partners, and we were taking over the warranty program from an administrator that unfortunately had they had a terrible experience with. And so after, I'm talking, who we are, who I am, et cetera. And the very first question I got, and it was direct. I mean, talking about hitting somebody in the face with it and said, hey, your old provider, the old provider was horrible. They didn't take care of our customers. It hurt our reputation. We opened up, we stopped actually even offering protection plans and simply didn't trust it. What makes you any different? It's like, oh my gosh, this is the first question. So very, very fair question. So from their perspective, yeah, they were all the same. They experienced it. Their customers hated it. They heard the horror stories. And, obviously I couldn't defend the industry. I couldn't, even blame the prior administrator. I just simply told him, and listen, there's a reason why we're taking over. And that administrator is no longer in the picture. We talked a little bit about our philosophy of customer first, finding ways to pay for the claim versus finding ways to not pay for it and deny it, give them the quote runaround, et cetera. And I just said, trust me. You know, I'm going to sit up here in front of you and I'm going to ask you to just trust me. And I'm not going anywhere. You're going to have all my information. And, you know, from real world situations moving forward, anything that happens, call me because it would take time. Right. And so, fortunately, they would call me and we would take care of that customer and things would be good. And we got them to shift from thinking that they were all the same to now they believe in it and they were actually offering it the majority of time. So,
The main takeaway there, you would say, is the responsiveness from the B2B side as you're servicing them as a client, and then also the customer experience?
yeah, absolutely. Because the customers, who would they go to if we didn't take care of them from an administrator perspective? They go back to that retailer,
Mhm.
right? And then they light them up. And that's not a good situation for anybody. And then guess who got lit up? You know, if they got let up, right? They'd contact me and be like, hey, dude, you know, I remember what you said.
Right.
So with this being kind of early on in your career and, potentially before the advent of technology, was technology genuinely like a critical point in that, or was it more around the customer service?
It was, yeah, it was more around the customer service, right? You know, technology, I wouldn't say technology wasn't in play because it was, but it was more of, you know, you had an associate making a promise to a customer and the reason why they were offering this in the case of this happening, right? And then when that would happen and they would call up the administrator, talk to customer service, and it didn't happen as they were told it was going to happen, then they're going to go back and then voila, here you go, full circle again. So it was ultimately, you know, making sure they felt comfortable with it, and then following through, and making sure customer service and claims was following through. And then once you had that all done, then the program took off.
I mean, interestingly for me, one of the things that when we talk about warranty providers being all the same, one of the big distinguishing pieces is the product that the product itself and the products that those warranty providers provide. Really, when you look at it, the product it's at the forefront because it's what the consumers see and it's ultimately what drives that bottom line and brings in money. But I think one of the myths here is that you just have to have a viable product, and that's it. And if you've got a viable product, then the customers will come to you. And I think that just simply isn't true. Now, as a technology company, we're lucky enough to be able to recognize the importance of kind of having that solid product. There's no two ways about that. But as well as the channels to actually bring those products to the market as well. And there's multiple ways of doing that, whether it's email, e-commerce, QR codes at the point of sale, or all of the above. But I think a lot of warranty providers, they think of product as being what the customer buys. So whether it's a VSC, a tire and wheel, but the reality actually is that for a lot of customers and consumers, the product encompasses it's the way that they purchase as well. So it's not just the paper product that I'm getting, it's the way that I purchase it. So, I think we do see a lot of providers who maybe they don't explain the coverage, the payment terms, the benefits well enough. So, you can really have the best product in the world behind the scenes, but if that's not conveyed properly to the consumer, then actually it doesn't matter in the long run. So that's, my take on this is it's not just the paper product, it's the way that product is sold as well.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. That customer experience and journey, we've talked about it over and over, but that's what the customer is going to remember. They don't remember every fine print cover component that's on the PDF. But then twofold to that is what's their experience post sale. So buying it needs to be easy and seamless. But then what about whenever the customer is ready to actually use it? So claims, customer service, what does that experience look like? And all of that is going to tie back to that administrator's processes and how the product is built. So what we've seen from working with a lot of different warranty administrators is sometimes there can be conflicting or confusing language in the way that the product is written, and that creates a poor customer experience. So it's really important to identify those things. Run whenever you're in the compliance team and you're building a product, run that product through the claims team as well. Like run it past your mechanics and say, does this make sense? Are there anything that is this group also conflicting with this category that's going to create issues? And then if those things do get missed once it's launched, you can still monitor those things. So if you're getting these questions and issues through claims and it's creating heat in your claims, take that back to the product design team and how can we revamp this and continue to make it better? So continue to iterate as an administrator is big, and that's always going to go back to the claims process and the customer experience. Another thing I always think about is when I first entered the warranty space in 2016, I saw forms that still had coverage for tape players, and it always sticks out to me of like, really a tape player? Okay. So also need to be considerate of the technology that is in cars today, what's actually relevant, because if the first time a customer sees an irrelevant item, they're gonna be like, well, what's the value in this? Like, you really have to focus on that technology piece and be able to make sure that the customer sees the value in the products that you're offering.
I'm assuming you had to Google what a tape player was at the time, right?
Of course not. I had a tape player in my first car.
An 8-track.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think technology is interesting, right? You look at technology, it touches every facet of a program, right? And so again, going back to, hey, warranty providers are all the same. Yeah, the fastest way to test that is simple. Look at their technology. It touches everything, right? Start with pricing. Historically, warranty pricing was backward looking, right? We're going to basically build out the spreadsheet, and we're going to talk about, failure rates, and we're going to build margin on top of that. Now we actually have telematics that are built into it, the connected devices, real-time usage data. It allows you to be more dynamic, smart, accurate, and accommodate the risk, the actuary side of things. So, again, you could have some company that's doing it the old-fashioned way, some company that's doing the new. There's a big difference with that. Claims that we talked about, the old model, manual intake, paper invoices, long, cycle times. Obviously, now you have digital submissions, first notice of loss, you have photo, video uploads, you have automated document parsing. Then you add on top of that AI assisted adjudication, fraud protection detection, all of that kicks into play. It just makes it a much more seamless transaction, if you will, with the customer. Again, AI doesn't replace it. It's human in the loop, because a lot of times, a human does need to touch it and need to take it a little bit step further because maybe something was missed or something like that, right? Another piece is integrating with companies. And, you might have somebody that, their system doesn't integrate through API, doesn't go into the CRM or their platform. So now it's multiple different platforms that are being utilized. Issues arise, confusion happens, and then that performance overall declines. Technology, it's expensive. It does require real investment. You have data science involved. You have compliance. You have cybersecurity, infrastructure, all that stuff. And so ultimately, if you don't have the right technology partner that is into that, then you're going to have a system that's not equal to others.
Yeah.
that
I
have-
love what you said about the dynamic product. I feel like we could do a whole episode on that, of just being able to leverage the data that's out there and then present and build a product and a rate that's specific to me as a customer and the vehicle or asset that I'm trying to protect, as opposed to the one size fits all.
Mhm.
I just think that's such a forward thinking solution and it resonates with customers. You'll see it today on even like the skincare quiz. Like when you go to buy a skincare product, it's like, let's take you through this quiz and then we will present the specific product that is right just for you after analyzing the data. I think that really resonates with people today and really puts administrators ahead of the curve when you're selling and presenting products in that fashion.
Yeah. Matt, does that skincare, does that resonate with you too?
Of course, of course. I think the connected car and space and telematics definitely resonates because that, that's the world that I'm from. And I think when we started to see a lot of these rate cards and adjusters using failure rates and predictive failure rates, a lot of the warranty providers were looking at this and thinking, well, this is an opportunity for me to increase my premiums, because if somebody buys I'm not going to badmouth any particular vehicle make here, but I'm sure we all know that the ones that have broken down over the years, that it gives me the opportunity to increase my premiums. But actually, on the flip side of that, what about Subaru Outback, which you can drive till it's 250,000 miles and it still won't break down? That gives me the opportunity to actually tailor my premiums and tailor my coverage to the type of vehicle. So, we're still, I think, in the infancy of what technology can do within the vehicle. It's not just technology that's consumer facing, it's technology that these warranty providers can use on the back end to be able to influence their own rates, to be able to understand consumers a lot more.
Yeah, I think to me that's the biggest thing. Again, when I started years ago, things were tiered, and what I mean by tiered is that if you were buying a product that fell in between price wise, in between a tier, let's say $100 to $200. If it was $105, yeah, you're actually that's pretty good pricing, right? But now all of a sudden, if you're $199, you're paying the same price, right? And so that price, it could be good or bad depending on that tier. Now it's more dynamic. So now if you're spending $199, it's specific as like a percentage to the actual retail dollar that you're spent.
Mhm.
And it allows that premium adjustment automatically in the background. So that's a big improvement from years ago.
Right. I think the kind of final point for me that resonates with this is about, you probably had this, Mark, when you were asked, well, how are you different? Am I right in guessing that maybe the name wasn't kind of a household name at that point, a newer player to the market? So there's that, you know, insecurity about, well, I don't know who this provider is. They're kind of new to the market. So
Mhm.
the market piece is a very tricky one for me. It's like, as a provider, how do I invest in better infrastructure, better customer service techniques, better technology, and have cheaper premiums without that solid customer base to be able to fund all of this? Because, well, where does that come from? So I think when we kind of think about that myth of, all warranty providers are the same, a lot of people think of that because they believe that the industry is dominated by a select few that still operate a lot of these archaic processes. They all follow the same ethos on claims and customer service. But I think what we're very quickly seeing now, that the reality is very different. So market expectations have changed rapidly over the last even decade. And because of that, it's led to a lot greater advancements in technology and in customer service within that same time period than we saw in probably the previous 50 years combined. So, what we're seeing now is that warranty providers that stagnating and not adapting to consumer expectations can often get left behind. So that market position is an interesting one because it's not just the well-established warranty providers out there and the household names that are the go-to. It's the ones that are actually advancing quickly and leaving a lot of those household names behind.
Yeah, I think you summed it up really well, Matt. I mean, the whole myth around warranty administrators being the same, as we touched on, there's so many different diverse profiles that you can have to set yourself apart from the types of products you're offering, leveraging that data and infrastructure to create dynamic products, making your claims process smooth, the customer experience transparent, and then also leveraging that risk profile that you touched on to make sure the products are really set up to be successful in the market. Anything else that you guys want to add to our Mythbuster today?
I think for me, it's been a good one to cover because we hear it time and time again, whether it be at events, whether it be directly from consumers, and I think it's been a good one for me to definitely address today. And it's it's the elephant in the room, I think.
Mark, what about you?
Yeah, I think just it's, I mean, they're not all the same. They're not all the same. You have different cultures. More so than ever, you have private equity that's getting involved. In private equity, they want better margins. They want less claims, and so there's going to be a shift, right? You're not going to have a take care of the customer at all cost mentality because that costs money. And so with private equity, they want to spend as little money and get bigger returns. So unfortunately, customer service suffers because of that.
So true. Well, that's a wrap on today's Mythbuster episode on the Warranty Wire. Join us next time for more insight into automation, AI, and elevated expectations. See you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Warranty Wire,
Customer trust.
AI.
every day in the warranty world.